Hey guys, King Cheerio 85 here again with another Shapeways review. Well, if you have looked through any of my previous posts on Radicons, you've probably seen some of these guys before. I mean, granted, you've probably seen a lot of the stuff I've already put on here before, but these ones, if you're familiar with the work of Mark, aka Johnbonhamatron. He put out a bunch of interchangeable parts for the Generations Thrilling 30 Bumblebee / Goldfire. Now, I always thought they were like the coolest things ever. I still do, honestly. They really do a lot to make what kind of was a subpar mold to begin with, and really. Allow somebody to make it presentable and make it something that I actually really wanted in my collection, due to the ability to add in characters that effectively just didn't get any love. The whole desire to do this came about when the Nightbeat version of the mold came out. Nightbeat obviously was lacking in a lot of his key features that are common across most of his interpretations. And since this was effectively supposed to be our first and to date really only updated Nightbeat based upon, well, supposedly based upon his comic book appearances, it left a lot to be desired. And so, like, we had a bunch of customizers and modelers step in to alleviate those issues. I think there was about a year straight, that Nightbeat was probably the most commonly customized figure on Radicons that I recall seeing at all. But this came about when I just, I had stumbled upon Amazon. They had tons and tons of the Goldfires going for ridiculously cheap. So I bought, I think, 10 total, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to do another count to see exactly how many of the mold I've got. Because this is only 3. This is just the 3 that were easiest for me to access at this point, because I redid all of my displays. And I think I might include some pictures of the ones that are on display, because they're at least towards the front where I can easily photograph them. But let's get to talking about these guys. Okay, well, first up, right over here, we have Decepticharge. Now, Decepticharge here has his own his own chest plate, which was made purposely for the character. I forget who originally made the request, but I absolutely love how it turned out. Once I got it all painted up, it really, it really sold me that this was, this was Decepticharge. I never owned the alternator version of the character. I had the Windcharger version, which oddly enough did not include the Windcharger head. The Decepticharge had a Windcharger based head, but Windcharger did not, which is very weird to me. But I mean, alternators in total got really weird later on. Anyway, the head is a Johnbonhamatron creation. Let's see if it'll actually focus on it. Which I had actually intended. I had actually intended at some point to go back and make like the GoBots or Spy Changer, whatever the heck you want to call it, Megatron out of this mold, but lack of time, lack of motivation to do it kind of stopped me from doing so. Next up, and also what I want to say about Deceptive Charge, he has the height increase kit added to him as well, which that's a really nice addition to the mold. The mold, as it was a bit, it's just a bit squat. I guess it's fine for Bumblebee since he's a mini bot, but virtually, anybody else, it doesn't really work so well for them. Like, you can kind of see the major difference in how the waist and everything kind of look, how the waist and everything looks by like looking at this one. This guy I got down on the end here, who I'll talk about in a minute, and the other two. And okay, so going over, I have like my version of roulette. Effectively, this is based, the colors and everything is based entirely on Shadow Striker. The chest plate is based on a feminine version of Siren that Johnbonhamatron had put up on his store. I liked the chest plate. I just had no idea who I would use it on, since I had I didn't really, I already had a Siren, and like my whole deal was trying to do Marvel G1, so I had no real purpose for getting a female version of Siren. But I, browsing through the wikis, like I found a Decepticon that had a pretty decent color palette. Black, blue, and gold. It was actually pretty awesome looking. Looking at like how the actual chest was laid out, kind of felt it was a nice little match. So here we have Shadow Striker, aka in my collection, Roulette, and she's sporting the feminine waist extension. Also looks really nice. I love how those pan out. Like I love how those worked out really well. I also have the feminine waist extension on my Minerva, and I've got the male waist extension on Siren. Wow, I've got it on quite a few of them. I've got it on Siren, Carzap, Nightbeat, and Go Shooter. I got it on all those guys. Unfortunately, I don't have Carzap. Sorry, I'm looking over at my collection right now. I don't have Carzap situated towards the front, so I'm probably not going to be able to show him really at all. Carzap or Windbreaker, I guess, would be his other term. But would be the based on the Collector Club figure. And for me, that was that just came in as Carzap, so that's who that is Carzap to me. Yeah, and the guns also Shapeways. Going to be talking about those. Those are from I want to say Tom Servo's workshop. Oh, sorry guys. This is the first time I've done one of these videos where I haven't at least like looked up everything prior to talking about them. But I will post a correction, as a subtitle on here. But these, I believe, are called the Hotcakes. Basically, they're a pair of submachine guns, and in my headcanon, Roulette is effectively like an arms dealer, and kind of like a Siren from the Borderlands series. She's not OP, but she does have like a limited teleportation device. Like she's an arms dealer / information broker. Her main rival obviously would be Swindle. Alright, and last but not least, right over here on the end, we have Wipeout. Wipeout is actually this Wipeout is based entirely on Wipeout's original and only Marvel Comics appearance, in which it just was also in the U.S. I believe in for the U.S. comic, it was the only appearance of Tailgate's model in the Marvel G1 comics for the United States. I mean, I don't really care about the character, but it was something else to do at the time because I had another extra version of that mold. Like I said, I just bought a ton of them as soon as I saw these kits coming out. Now, I did that. Well, I mean, just so you know, I did do a tailgate. And again, if you've looked at previous posts of mine on Radicons, yeah, you'd know I do have tailgate already. The guns that Wipeout and Tailgate have are, I forget exactly where they come from. I want to say they came from Wipeouts came from one of the various really cheap Bumblebee upgrades. I think this one came from the one that had the bumper head. And Devious Charge, that little with that Tommy gun, which I just feel looks perfect with him, came from one of the iGear mini bots. I forget which one. It wasn't Braun. I forget which one, but I'm sure somebody who cares enough will end up correcting me on it or like telling me about it. But let's take a look right here at Wipeout. I'm gonna put Wipeout in the front. This is Wipeout based on his only appearance alongside Trypticon for some reason, even though Trypticon had his own car, buddy, which was also the only appearance of the Tailgate model in Marvel G1, US G1. Now, just for comparison, this is the Wipeout that was released based on the Reveal the Shield Wind Charger, which was difficult enough to get a hold of without having to buy the this is the Takara version. And yeah, he's kind of dusty. I need to do something with those. I think that they look pretty good. I actually have these both in my display, even though I don't display the same characters over and over. I do have a few exceptions to that rule. Mostly, it's if in canon there have been more than one character to share that name residing in the same universe. But to me, they are both Wipeout, but they're completely different characters. So, is there anything else I want to talk about? No, I will. Probably gonna shoot. I don't know. Was there anything else I want to talk about here? Like, aside from the fact that I love the kits, I love how they really let me really allowed me to use a lot of these shelf warmers that were going around at that point in time. Yeah. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Well, thank you for listening to me ramble, and have a good one.